Yet another week in the books with increased running intervals, and I gotta say, I feel highly energized after this week. In fact, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this week is the best that I have felt since starting this whole running program altogether. Since I've started this vlog and trying to hold myself accountable, a couple things have run through my mind. First was, after I've done a couple of these, I realized that this is a lot of work. I do know that I have spent a little bit more time doing this than I have probably actual running. Second of all, this week, for some reason I got curious and I wondered, are there any other guys out there like me, and by chance, would they even have a YouTube channel? Haven't found a lot. It was a little discouraging. Not to say that the stuff that I found was not inspiring, because it certainly is. I found tons of videos of these insane endurance races, or someone wanting to PR their marathon time and get it down to 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is incredible. And I don't want to take anything away from any of these people that have dedicated themselves to training and set out to accomplish something. However, I would say that I'm in a slightly different boat. When I hopped on YouTube and I tried to find other like-minded individuals in a similar stage of life, just wasn't really a whole lot out there. And I was pretty happy when I stumbled across Tony with Focus Fight Finish. I really liked, number one, his story. It's been a while since I've related so much to someone online, and even though that I've never met the guy, but just recently he shared a video of his Garmin. And in particular, it was after he had got done running a 5K. Normally in the past, he wouldn't wanted to show his pace because he said it was slow, and he just didn't want to put that kind of information out there. I have to be honest, I have not related more to an Instagram post in quite some time. I have been in that situation more times than I would like to admit, where I got so hung up on pace. And I don't know why we all get so hung up on pace. If you're at the top of the pack, yeah, okay, focus on it. But if you're like me, where a lot of times completing the event is gonna be your success, then pace, I mean, does it really matter? I'm trying to look at my pace right now as just what that is, like my pace. If I can improve it, awesome. But if I can stay committed to the training and grind through things, but honestly, I said grind through things, but I kind of don't even want to do that anymore. Like, why am I having to grind through training? Why can't I find a program or a lifestyle that I just genuinely enjoy doing and go out and pursue that? Because if I'm doing that, then it doesn't really matter what my pace is. And I'm really glad that Tony shared that video and that he put his pace out there, because in my videos, I want to keep putting my pace out there, because number one, it has no relation at all to what anybody else out there is doing. I remember a long time ago, I had got done running an event. I had mentioned it in passing to a fellow runner, and I didn't know this person very well. And I remember one of the very first things they asked was, yeah, well, what was your pace? And I was so, I don't know, I was just so taken back by that. Not necessarily offended, but I was like, what does it matter? Like, I did the event, like, who cares? How does knowing my pace help you? On the flip side of that, I will say that knowing Tony's pace, not necessarily knowing his specific numbers, but knowing his willingness to share what he's going through, that had an impact on me, because I thought, well, man, if this guy's putting his stuff out there and he's going through this process and he's enjoying life and he's just trying to make himself better, then that's the only pace that really matters, right? Don't want to get off on a tangent on any of this. However, I will say that if you find yourself in a similar situation where you're wanting to get out and run, you'd like to connect with other people, but for some reason you're like me and you feel like your pace is too slow. I can't go run out with anybody because I've never enjoyed running groups because I've always felt like I held everybody up. I challenge you, put it out there. Let everybody know your pace. I mean, who cares? If you're going out and you're doing the work, then how fast you go is how fast you go. When I was looking at Tony's Instagram account, he's got some great stuff up on his YouTube channel where he talks about running a marathon. It kind of made me wonder, what if this channel became not just broken but running, but broken but training? I've kind of wondered that this week. What happens when I'm done with this 10K? Right now I feel so good that I'm already thinking about a half marathon this week. This week I don't even know what happened, but my brain was like, hey, we should do another full marathon. Something I said I would never ever do ever again has now popped into my brain. What if this vlog became a way to document the process or the journey, enjoying the journey? So instead of getting online and complaining about how terrible the workout was or how beat up I always feel, what if this was a way to show, yeah, I'm 47 years old, I'm married, a father of 2, I have a full-time job, but I'm still making time for this. It's not always easy, but it can be enjoyable, it can be fun, it can be a challenge, it can be all of those things. So who knows where this channel may end up, but for now, we are still broken and we are still running. I gotta say that this week actually went pretty well. The only notable exception I'll say is that I was actually forced to run up hills. And by that I mean, when I went out to the park, first of all, the area of the park that I've been running in is called the Egg Lawn. And it's this really beautiful paved, obviously shaped like an egg, beautiful paved area. And there's usually not a lot of people on there, especially at lunch when I go. Most importantly, it's flat. There's not a whole lot of elevation change. Where I typically like to park, if I head outside of the Egg Lawn, there's 2 different paths that I could take. Each one of them have way more hills than I even want to try to conquer right now. You can imagine what it was like when I showed up and I saw some construction crew, or like, it looked like a construction vehicle out actually on the running area. And I thought, that's okay, whatever they're doing, they're checking that area and they'll be gone by the time I get done with my warm up. And then I noticed, as I was walking, I noticed all of this tar or paving, surfacing. Sorry, I don't know the technical term. I'm a computer geek. But I saw all this stuff on the ground, and it didn't look like anything I was willing to put my new running shoes into. So when I walked all the way back around, I saw, okay, they're doing a little bit of resurfacing, some touching up of some of the areas, some of the cracked areas, which, hey, great, they're taking care of the park. Bad news was, that means I gotta go finally tackle one of those hills, which I mentally was not entirely ready to do, but I did it anyway. Another thing that I changed up this week that I feel probably had the biggest impact was I changed up the lifting schedule. I mentioned in the past where Friday and Saturday were pretty lower body intensive days. So by the time Sunday came around, I noticed a dip in my average pace, and the run felt a lot more challenging compared to earlier in the week. This week, I shifted some things around, and I feel like it made all the difference in the world. By the time Sunday rolled around, my legs felt way better than they had before. Not necessarily by choice, but one of the days that I was going to wake up, for some reason, my body said nope. And instead of getting up when the alarm went off, I got up and I shut every single alarm off. Hey, you know what? It happened. Rather than just chalk it up as nothing was going to happen, I threw on my weight vest and I went for an hour walk at lunch. I want to mention, I don't throw on this weight vest because I think it looks cool or intimidating, or I just feel like I need the extra 30 pounds to enhance my training. I really do it because it has pockets. It has a great pocket up front for my phone, and that's a whole lot easier to carry around when I'm doing it. So that walk did so much for me. And in fact, I realized that walking is something that I have to continuously make sure is in the mix a pretty healthy amount, because that's almost been like a reset for my body, especially my lower body. Also, this week at the gym, I feel like I had more fun this week than I've had in a little while. There's not a lot of pressure. I'm not training for a meet. I'm not on a specific program in terms of, well, I gotta get these lifts done at this percentages. I've worked with some different implements than normal. And overall, I've had way more fun doing everything. Like I've worked in some cambered bench, some trap bar deadlift. I've done a lot of grip work, some core work, a lot of stuff for my back and core, midline, all those kind of things. And it's made all the difference this week. I talk a lot about numbers, just went on an entire rant about pace. And I gotta admit that as much as I'm trying not to focus entirely on the numbers, I still do focus on them. I'm looking at my Garmin a pretty good bit, but I'm honestly trying to look at it a little bit differently this time. Instead of saying, okay, well, every single day I gotta go out and I gotta work as hard as I can possibly work, because the only thing that matters is being able to run this event in a PR time or to have a pace that I've never had before. I'm seeking improvements during the week. That might be with running, that might be with training, that might be just overall how I feel. Instead of trying to just stay hyper focused on a single activity, I'm trying to see where else can I see some type of improvement. That being said, when I start a workout on the app to go for a run, it always has a 5-minute warm up and it always has a 5-minute cool down. And right now I'm still doing some running and walking in the mix. So my brain just does not want that extra 10 minutes of walking factored into my running time. So yes, I do start an activity for the warm up and then I start a different activity for the actual running, walking intervals. And then I'll log another activity for the cool down. And since I'm talking about the Garmin data, I was really happy to see that my average pace did not go on a steady decline throughout the week. The final day, and I kind of wonder if some of that had to do with the weather, like it was a little bit cooler that day. Honestly, I believe it was just because of an overall better mix of how I handled the training, the recovery, and not being so beat up by the time I got to the end of the week that it was just this, I gotta get through this run and just to check another week off the list. I got out there and felt awesome. And even on that day where I had to run up a little bit more hilly area than I would have liked, I mean, even that day felt good. So overall, I feel like I was really happy with the numbers that I saw. I saw even an improvement in my VO2 max, which was pretty good. My fitness age and overall VO2 max still got some work to do there, obviously, but at least I'm trending in the right direction. All right, all of y'all have been in my DMs all week long, and you won't leave me alone, asking, just begging for me to do a post-run video summarizing how the run went. And by all of y'all, I of course mean the single person that I texted and said, hey, what do you think about these crappy videos that I'm making? In her infinite wisdom, she said, hey, it'd be cool if you did a video like right after you ran. So I wired this thing up, trying to do this really cringe influencer thing, looking around me like I'm about to get mugged because I don't want anybody to see me walking around this park, holding this camera, talking to it, because this is really weird. I have no idea how you influencers do this crap. First of all, I feel great. Balanced the whole week out like I had said I was gonna do. Legs feel tremendously better today. In fact, my quads didn't feel like they were gonna blow up. I feel like I could have done 3 or 4 rounds of the running intervals that I did. Everything felt great. Really can't complain at all. I had more energy, and when I looked at the run, one of the things that I was pretty happy about was the pace was better. The average pace was better than it was the last time I went out. So that was a win. Anytime that I can do that, I'm really happy. If you're wondering why I'm walking through the park, not on the paved area where I usually run, number one, I mean, look at this day. It's really beautiful. Second of all, I don't have to worry about bumping into somebody out here and they're like, why are you talking to this camera? I'm like, look, the 3 people that watch this channel, they need to know how my intervals went. Like, people are demanding to know, look, you ran a whole 20 minutes we need an update. So, two things hit me. Number one, this week was the first. Intervals got a little bit longer. But one of the cool things was, not today, last day I went and ran, Thursday, I got into the final 5 minute interval, and it was hard, won't gonna lie. Kind of felt mentally defeated, like, the heck? Like, why can't I run 5 minutes? I used to run a lot longer than that. But something mentally clicked. And like, I wanted that difficulty. I wanted that challenge. That's why I signed up for this in the first place. I like missed this. I missed having something that felt somewhat unattainable, at least unattainable easily. Like, I don't want any of this thing to be gifted to me. I want to be able to go out and earn these runs. So I got about a minute or so left, and I kind of grinned, and I was like, this is great. This is where I want to be, mentally and physically. I want to be where it's like really, really difficult. Make me push through. I don't want to get to the end of the week and be like, oh, you know, that was super easy. Yeah, you know, my knees and back would probably appreciate that. But, you know, right now, I just want to have that challenge. And when I got into this run, I thought, yeah, this is great. Balance this week out has really made a huge difference today. So when I got going, it got a little difficult. 3 minute run. The rest intervals, 90 seconds. That's not a lot when you're not used to running at all, and you go 3 minutes rest and then 5 minutes. 90 seconds is 90 seconds feels like 10 seconds. And that little bell that goes off on the app, number one, it'll chime when it's time to walk, and it'll chime when there's 1 minute left, and that chime is the same. And let me tell you, whoever made this app, you need to be beat with a rubber hose. Those two chimes need to be different, because I heard that beep and I thought, I stopped running. And then I realized, wait a minute, it says 1 minute left. And I was like, you mother. So anyway, got to keep going. So mentally, I'm aware of that. I'm just tracking my Garmin, make sure that all the running stays running and I don't listen to the chime all the time. So, but when I got done today, I felt great. And then I got into this mode where I remembered what it was like when I was training for the marathon back in Georgia. And I love that. Not so much, I mean, yeah, I'm glad that I did the marathon, and the marathon itself was awesome. But what I remember most about the marathon was the training for it, especially those long run days. I think I set those up on Sundays. Those were awesome. Headphones, water, some probably more goo packs than were healthy to eat. And I just hit the road. So therapeutic. And like right now, that feels so far away. But I so want to get back there. I want to get back. I'd love to, like, that's that little bit of taste of it I got today. I thought, man, I want to do a full marathon. You know, my knees and my back hold up, which I feel like if I'm smart with this and the nutrition and the recovery and bounce and everything, then why not? So I'll tell you, I got done today and I felt so energized. Earlier, like the first 2 days of this week, my legs were so tight. But this has been a really good week. I don't think I've at the gym, I don't know if I've necessarily say I've PR'd, but I've definitely been able to level up on some of the lifts that I've done. And that alone has given me like a mental boost that I needed. A little bit of extra walking has helped. I didn't even think I PR'd at Cycle Bar on my 30-minute ride, which is nuts because I haven't been really doing any cycling hardly at all, like not compared to what I used to do. So I don't know, it's been a great week. And like I said last week, reading is fundamental. So I went ahead and paid attention to what next week holds. Looks like I've got, obviously, I was about to say, well, you know, the running intervals are going to increase. Yeah, well, that's the whole point of this, right? The whole point is to be able to run a 10K that I can't do right now. So it looks like I've got a 5-minute run. I think it's a 2 or 3 minute walk, 5-minute run, another 2 or 3 minute walk, and then a 5-minute run. So I'm like kind of excited about all this right now. Like I'm really looking forward to the distance, not so much the distance increasing, but just the time out here. I mean, I've got access to this beautiful park. It's fantastic. Even when this place is crowded with people and they're hogging up the lanes or the paved area, I still love being out here. Like I feel so lucky that I can just hop in the car, drive down here. It's so quick. Park the car, get out, go for a run. I mean, I got all this scenery, so it's kind of hard to be upset when I'm out here doing really any of this stuff. So I'm really excited now about being able to really start seeing some distance accumulate. I'm looking forward to the days, like I skipped way far ahead in the program just to see what the very final days would hold. And it's cool because it's like, just go for a jog for an hour. Gosh, that brought back so many good memories. Man, that brought back so many good memories. I used to look so forward to those long run days because it was therapeutic just to be out there alone, not have to worry about texts or emails or phone calls or any of this other crap that we have to worry about on a daily basis. It's just us or just me out there running. And I really do. I love that. So far, everything's holding up. I am not having to pop ibuprofen daily, which is great. In fact, I guess it's about a month ago or so, doctor took me off of one of my blood pressure medicines, which is fantastic. So I keep all this up. You know, one day I'll figure the nutrition piece out and I'll stop eating like an unsupervised toddler in a gas station on a road trip. But hey, you know, if I could go out and run today fueled on taquitos and Alani energy, then, you know, hey, imagine what would happen if I actually eat pretty good on a more consistent basis. So it's all a process. I'll get there. So really excited about week 5 coming up. I can't believe that I've completed this so far, especially injury free, because I'll be honest, I didn't think my body was going to hold up. Hear all this horror story about how terrible running is for you, but you know, it's going to destroy my knees and my back. But everything's been going good so far. I think I just got to be smart with the training and everything that I'm doing, which I'm keeping up with it. So really excited, and I hope I have more of these days where I get done and I'm like, man, yeah, that was awesome. That was worth going out and doing, because I sure do feel good about all this right now. And it's been a while. It's been a while since I've had a challenge like this in front of me to think, man, maybe not just a 10K, maybe a half, maybe a full. I'd love to get to that point, but something to push me and to motivate me, keep me going. It's been so long since I've had anything like that, it feels. So, and it's given some purpose to my exercise. So it's not just, I don't know, it's not just exercising just for the purpose of exercising. Like I feel like I'm accomplishing something now, which I need that just to stay driven. So anyway, I guess this will conclude my awkward walk around the park. You know what? I walked around this whole daggone green area and not a single person was over here on the paved area that I like to do a cool down walk on. So, you know, one of these days I'll be, you know, when I'm big time and I'm sponsored, yeah, I'll walk around everywhere and be like, yeah, you look at this camera, because I'm sponsored now. But ibuprofen, biofreeze, maybe not Bang Energy. I don't know. Trying to think what my favorite energy drink is, like what my go-to. But you know, hey, you want to sponsor your boy, I'm out here. So anyway, see y'all next week.